My beloved child, stop what you're doing right now and listen to me very carefully. I am not asking for much, just 30 seconds of your precious time, but what I am about to reveal to you in these next few moments will shatter every financial chain that has held you captive for years. The universe has been preparing this exact message specifically for you. And the fact that you are hearing these words right at this precise moment is no coincidence whatsoever. Something massive is about to shift in your bank account within the next 72 hours. But you must stay with me until the very end, because if you leave too soon, you will miss the one instruction that unlocks everything. Do not scroll away, do not let distraction win, because heaven itself has orchestrated this divine appointment between you and the breakthrough you have been crying out for in secret. My dear child, listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you will change everything you thought you knew about your future. Right now, at this very moment, there's a wealthy family searching the entire world just to find you, and when they do, your life will never be the same again. This isn't some fairy tale or fantasy story, this is real, and it's happening right now. Somewhere in this world, there are people who have more money than most of us can even imagine, and they've been given a mission from heaven itself. Their mission is simple but urgent: find you, bless you, transform your life completely. They don't know your face yet, but they know your name because it was whispered into their hearts while they were sleeping. They woke up with a strange feeling, an urgency they couldn't explain, a pull towards someone they've never met. That someone is you. Now I know what you're thinking. Why me? What makes me so special? I'm just an ordinary person struggling to make ends meet. I've been praying and waiting for so long that I almost gave up hope. But that's exactly why this moment matters so much. You see, your prayers didn't disappear into empty air. Every single word you spoke in the middle of the night when you couldn't sleep because of worry, every tear that rolled down your face when you thought nobody was watching, every moment you felt completely alone and forgotten, all of it was heard. All of it was recorded. All of it mattered. The universe doesn't operate on accident. You weren't meant to stumble upon these words by chance. This message found you because you were meant to receive it at exactly this moment in your life. Think about everything that had to happen for you to be reading this right now. All the choices you made, all the paths you took, all the difficulties you survived, they were all leading you here to this exact second where your breakthrough begins. Let me tell you something that will shake you to your core. While you were struggling and wondering if anyone cared, forces beyond your understanding were moving on your behalf. Doors you didn't even know existed were being unlocked. Conversations about you were happening in rooms you've never entered. Your name was being spoken in places of power and influence by people who felt compelled to help you even though they'd never met you. This is how miracles work. They happen in the invisible realm first, and then they manifest in your physical reality. You've been through so much pain, haven't you? There were nights when you cried yourself to sleep wondering how you'd pay the bills. There were moments when you felt so ashamed because you couldn't provide for yourself or your family the way you wanted to. There were times when you looked at other people's lives and wondered why everything seemed so easy for them, while you had to fight for every single thing. You watched your friends get promotions, buy homes, take vacations, and live the life you've been dreaming about, and you quietly asked yourself if you'd ever get your turn. But here's what you didn't know. While you were suffering in silence, you were actually being prepared for something so big that if it had come earlier, it would have destroyed you instead of blessed you. Sometimes the delay isn't a denial. Sometimes waiting isn't punishment. Sometimes the closed doors aren't rejection, they're protection. You needed to grow stronger. You needed to develop patience. You needed to learn lessons that only struggle can teach. And now that you've been through the fire and come out still believing, still hoping, still trusting, you're finally ready to receive what's been reserved for you all along. The wealth that's coming toward you right now isn't just about money. Yes, there will be financial abundance beyond anything you've experienced before, but that's only part of the blessing. What's really happening is a complete transformation of your entire existence. The shame you've carried will be replaced with honor. The fear that's been controlling you will be replaced with confidence. The limitation that's defined your life will be replaced with unlimited possibility. You're not just getting a financial upgrade. You're getting a total life renovation from the inside out. Think about your family tree for a moment. Think about the struggles that have followed your bloodline for generations. The poverty, the broken relationships, the missed opportunities, the cycles of defeat that seem to repeat over and over again. All of that is about to end with you. You're the generation breaker. You're the one who will stand in the gap and say no more. Everything that came before you, all the pain and struggle your ancestors endured, it stops here. And everything that comes after you, your children and their children, will live in the overflow of the blessing that's being released right now. Before we go any deeper into this powerful message, I want to ask you something important. If these words are touching your heart, if you feel something stirring in your spirit as you read this, would you take just 1 second to subscribe to this channel? Because there's so much more I need to share with you. So many more revelations that will guide you through what's coming next. Hit that subscribe button right now so you don't miss a single message that's meant for your breakthrough. Now let me tell you about timing, because this is crucial. You might be wondering why this is happening now. Why not last year when things were even harder? Why not 5 years ago before you lost so much? The answer is simple but profound. You weren't ready then. Your character needed to be shaped. Your faith needed to be tested. Your heart needed to be softened. You had to reach a point where you stopped relying on your own strength and fully surrendered to a higher power. And now that you've arrived at that place of complete dependence and trust, now you can handle what's about to be poured into your life. See, blessings given too early often become curses. Money without wisdom leads to destruction. Favor without character leads to arrogance. Power without humility leads to downfall. That's why you had to go through what you went through. Every rejection you faced taught you empathy. Every failure you experienced taught you resilience. Every disappointment you survived taught you that your worth isn't based on circumstances. You learned these lessons in the valley, and now you're qualified to carry the blessing on the mountaintop. The people who are searching for you right now, this wealthy family I mentioned, they're not ordinary people. They've been blessed beyond measure, but they've also been given a responsibility. True wealth isn't just about accumulation. It's about circulation. It's about being a channel through which abundance flows to others. And they understand this at a deep level. They know that their resources were never meant to be hoarded, but shared with those who have been faithful in the midst of testing. Here's something amazing. They don't even fully understand why they're looking for you. They just know they have to. It's like an inner knowing that won't let them rest until they find you. They've had dreams about someone in need, someone who's been faithful, someone who's been overlooked by the world but seen by heaven. And every time they try to ignore this feeling, it gets stronger. This isn't human compassion alone. This is divine orchestration. The same force that created the universe is now moving human hearts and human resources to align with your destiny. You need to understand something vital. What's being prepared for you cannot be stolen by any enemy. It cannot be blocked by any obstacle. It cannot be delayed by any force in this world or beyond it. When heaven releases a blessing with your name on it, all of creation has to cooperate to make sure you receive it. The winds will blow in your favor. The doors will swing open at your approach. The people will be moved to help you. The opportunities will chase you down. This is what happens when your time has come. But I need you to do something right now. I need you to let go of doubt. I know it's been your companion for so long that it feels strange to release it, but doubt is the only thing that can delay what's already yours. Not because heaven changes its mind, but because doubt keeps you from stepping into what's available. It's like standing in front of an open door but refusing to walk through because you're afraid it might close. The door is open. The invitation is extended. All you have to do is believe it's real and receive it. There's a reason you felt different your entire life. A reason you never quite fit in with the crowd. A reason you always sensed you were meant for something more even when your circumstances suggested otherwise. That feeling wasn't your imagination. It was prophecy. It was your spirit recognizing the destiny that was placed inside you before you were even born. You were created for impact. You were designed for influence. You were built for abundance. And everything you've been through was simply preparation for the moment when all of that potential would finally be activated. Let me tell you what's about to happen in your life. First, you're going to start seeing unusual coincidences. A phone call from someone you haven't heard from in years. An email about an opportunity that seems too good to be true. A chance meeting with someone who has exactly what you need. These aren't accidents. These are divine appointments. Pay attention to them. Follow through on them. They're part of the pathway to your breakthrough. Second, you're going to feel a shift in your spirit. The heaviness that's been sitting on your chest for months or years will start to lift. The anxiety that's been your constant companion will begin to fade. The hopelessness that made you wonder if things would ever change will be replaced by an unexplainable peace and confidence. This shift is evidence that something has already changed in the spiritual realm, and it's only a matter of time before you see it in the physical realm. Third, your perspective is going to transform. Things that used to bother you won't matter anymore. People who used to have power over your emotions will suddenly seem irrelevant. Problems that used to feel insurmountable will appear small and manageable. This isn't because you're ignoring reality. It's because you're seeing from a higher vantage point. When you're about to be elevated, your vision elevates first so you can handle the new level you're entering. Fourth, you're going to witness opposition intensify briefly before it collapses completely. The enemy of your soul knows that your breakthrough is imminent, and he's going to make one last desperate attempt to discourage you, distract you, and make you give up right before your miracle manifests. Expect this. Prepare for it. But don't fear it because it's actually confirmation that you're close. Nobody bothers to attack someone who isn't a threat. The intensity of the warfare is directly proportional to the magnitude of the blessing that's approaching. Fifth, you're going to find yourself supernaturally positioned in the right place at the right time. You'll walk into rooms you weren't invited to. You'll have conversations with people who are way above your current level. You'll receive invitations to events and opportunities that don't make logical sense based on your current status. This is divine favor in action. It's not about who you know or what credentials you have. It's about who knows you in the spiritual realm and what's been assigned to your name. Now I want to address something that might be bothering you. Maybe you're thinking about all the mistakes you've made, all the times you failed, all the ways you've messed up and fallen short. You're wondering how someone like you could possibly be worthy of this kind of blessing. Let me settle this right now. This blessing isn't based on your perfection. It's based on your persistence. It's not about never falling down. It's about getting back up every single time. Your mistakes didn't disqualify you. Your refusal to quit despite those mistakes actually qualified you. The people who never struggle never develop the strength needed to carry great blessing. The people who never fail never learn the humility needed to steward great favor. The people who never face opposition never build the courage needed to occupy high places. Your struggles weren't wasted. They were investments in the person you needed to become to handle what you're about to receive. Every tear was a seed. Every setback was a setup. Every closed door was redirection toward the door that was meant for you all along. I want you to think about all the times you helped someone even when you had almost nothing yourself. Remember when you gave money to that person in need, even though you weren't sure how you'd pay your own bills. Remember when you encouraged someone who was struggling even though you were fighting your own battles. Remember when you showed kindness to people who never showed it back. None of that was forgotten. None of that went unnoticed. Every seed you planted in secret is about to produce a harvest in public. This is how the universe works. What you sow, you reap. But here's the beautiful part. You don't always reap in the same field where you sowed. Sometimes you sow kindness and reap financial blessing. Sometimes you sow forgiveness and reap opportunity. Sometimes you sow faithfulness in small things and reap abundance in large things. The return isn't always direct, but it's always multiplied. And right now, all those seeds you planted over the years are sprouting simultaneously. Get ready for a harvest so big you won't have room to contain it all. Let me paint a picture of what your life is about to look like. Imagine waking up in the morning without that knot of anxiety in your stomach. Imagine checking your bank account and actually smiling instead of panicking. Imagine receiving bills in the mail and not feeling that surge of dread because you know you have more than enough to cover them. Imagine being able to bless your family, help your friends, support causes you care about and still have overflow. This isn't fantasy. This is your near future, but it goes even deeper than finances. Imagine the respect you're about to receive from people who once looked down on you. Imagine the opportunities that are about to flood your life from directions you never expected. Imagine the influence you're about to have in spaces where your voice was never heard before. Imagine the legacy you're about to build that will impact generations you'll never meet. This is the full scope of what's being released. It's not just about you surviving. It's about you thriving at a level that becomes a testimony of divine power. There are people in your life right now who have no idea what's about to happen to you. They see you in your current state and they've made assumptions about your future based on your present. But they're about to be shocked. They're about to witness a transformation so dramatic, so sudden, so complete that they won't be able to explain it by natural means. And when they ask you how it happened, you'll have an opportunity to point them to the source of all blessing and tell them about the faithfulness that never let you go even when you felt alone. Some of those people are going to celebrate with you genuinely. They'll be happy to see you rise because they truly love you. But others are going to struggle with it. They'll feel uncomfortable with your new level. They'll make comments trying to diminish your success. They'll remind you of your past, trying to keep you locked in old identity. Don't let this surprise you or hurt you. It's natural and it's predictable. Not everyone who was comfortable with your struggle will be comfortable with your success. And that's okay. You're not rising for their approval. You're rising because it's your time. The wealthy family that's searching for you represents something bigger than just financial provision. They represent divine partnership. See, you've been fighting alone for so long. You've been carrying burdens by yourself. You've been trying to figure everything out with your limited resources and limited connections. But that season is over. You're about to enter a season of supernatural alignment where the right people, the right resources, and the right opportunities all converge at the same time. You won't have to chase anything. It will chase you. These people have been successful in the natural realm, but they're about to be used for supernatural purposes. Their wealth is just a tool in the hands of heaven. Their influence is just a vehicle for your elevation. Their connections are just bridges to your destiny. They don't realize it yet, but they're about to become part of your testimony. Years from now, when you're telling your story, you'll talk about the moment when strangers showed up with blessings you never asked them for, and it will be evidence of a power greater than human kindness. Now here's what I need you to understand about receiving. Many people are good at praying for breakthrough, but they struggle with actually receiving it when it comes. They've been in lack for so long that abundance feels foreign and uncomfortable. They've been rejected for so long that acceptance feels suspicious. They've been struggling for so long that ease feels unnatural. Don't fall into this trap. When your blessing arrives, receive it with both hands wide open. Don't second guess it. Don't feel guilty about it. Don't try to figure out if you deserve it. Just receive it with gratitude and use it with wisdom. You're not taking anything away from anyone else by being blessed. Abundance isn't a limited resource where your gain is someone else's loss. There's more than enough in this universe for everyone to live in overflow. Your blessing doesn't block anyone else's blessing. In fact, when you're elevated, you become a source of blessing for others. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't help lift others if you're barely surviving yourself. Your abundance is actually part of the solution, not part of the problem. Let me tell you something about generational change, because this is critical. The blessing that's coming to you is bigger than your lifetime. Yes, it will transform your present circumstances, but it will also alter the trajectory of your entire family line. The children you have or will have won't grow up in the same lack you experienced. They won't inherit the same limitations. They won't carry the same burdens. They'll start from a completely different foundation, because you were the one who stood in the gap and said enough is enough. Think about your grandchildren and great-grandchildren who haven't even been born yet. Because of what's happening to you right now, their lives will be different. They'll have opportunities you never had. They'll have resources you never accessed. They'll have a name that carries weight and favor because you were the one who transformed that name from struggle to success. This is legacy building. This is generational shift. This is the kind of impact that echoes through time and changes the course of an entire family tree. Your children are watching you right now, even if they're not physically present or even born yet. They're watching through the realm of destiny and purpose. They're seeing you refuse to quit. They're seeing you hold on to faith when everything looked hopeless. They're seeing you stand firm in the face of opposition. And what you're modeling for them right now is more valuable than any inheritance you could leave behind. You're teaching them that breakthrough is possible, that faith works, that persistence pays off, that heaven responds to those who refuse to give up. When they face their own challenges years from now, they'll remember your story. They'll remember how you stood in the gap and changed everything. They'll remember that they come from a lineage of overcomers, not victims. They'll remember that their family name is associated with breakthrough, not defeat. This is the real wealth you're passing down, not just money, but a mindset. Not just resources, but resilience. Not just possessions, but power to overcome. But with great blessing comes great responsibility. I'm not telling you this to scare you or put pressure on you. I'm telling you this to prepare you. When you're elevated to a new level, you can't carry old mindsets with you. You can't hold on to old habits. You can't maintain old associations. Everything has to be evaluated and upgraded. The way you think about money has to change. The way you manage your time has to change. The way you choose relationships has to change. Growth requires change, and change requires letting go of what no longer serves your new level. This is why the preparation period was so important. You had to learn discipline in the wilderness so you wouldn't waste the blessing in the palace. You had to develop character in obscurity so you wouldn't lose yourself in visibility. You had to be humbled by struggle so you would stay grounded in success. Every difficult lesson you learned is about to pay off because you'll be able to handle what's coming without it destroying you. I want you to do something right now. Close your eyes for just a moment and imagine the version of yourself that you're about to become. Not the struggling version, not the worried version, not the version that's barely making it. I want you to see the elevated version, the confident version, the peaceful version, the abundant version, the version that walks into rooms with authority, the version that speaks with wisdom, the version that gives generously, the version that inspires others. That version isn't some distant possibility. That version is your immediate future, and the bridge between where you are and where you're going is belief. Belief is the currency of the supernatural realm. You can have all the talent in the world, all the opportunities, all the connections, but without belief, none of it activates. Belief is what turns potential into reality. Belief is what transforms promises into manifestations. Belief is what moves mountains, opens seas, and makes the impossible bow to the inevitable. So right now, in this very moment, make a decision to believe. Believe that what you're reading is true. Believe that your breakthrough is real. Believe that your time has come. Believe it with your whole heart, not just your head. The billionaire family I keep mentioning, they're not the source of your blessing. They're just the delivery system. The real source is much bigger, much more powerful, much more reliable than any human being. The source is the creative force that spoke galaxies into existence. The source is the intelligence that orchestrates seasons and cycles with perfect precision. The source is the love that never gives up on you even when you give up on yourself. This force decided you were worthy before you were born, and nothing you've done or failed to do has changed that decision. Here's what's happening right now while you're reading these words. In the spiritual realm, angels are being dispatched on your behalf. Yes, I said angels, messengers of light who operate in dimensions beyond human perception. They're removing obstacles you don't even know exist. They're rearranging circumstances in your favor. They're whispering your name to people who have the power to change your life. They're fighting battles you'll never see so you can walk into victories you didn't have to struggle for. This is real, and it's happening whether you feel it or not. But there's something you need to know about spiritual warfare. The closer you get to your breakthrough, the more intense the opposition becomes. You might notice that just as things start to look up, something seems to go wrong. An unexpected bill arrives, a conflict erupts out of nowhere. A disappointment hits you when you were just starting to feel hopeful. This isn't coincidence. This is calculated attack designed to make you give up right before you break through. The enemy knows he can't stop your blessing, but he can try to trick you into walking away from it before it arrives. Don't fall for it. When pressure increases, it means you're close. When opposition intensifies, it means you're a threat. When everything seems to be going wrong all at once, it means everything is about to go right. This is the darkest moment before dawn. This is the final push before birth. This is the breaking point that leads to the breakthrough. Hold on, stand firm, keep believing, because on the other side of this pressure is a blessing so big it will make all the struggle seem like a small price to pay. Let me reveal something to you that very few people understand about divine timing. There's a specific moment in the spiritual calendar when breakthrough is released, and that moment has arrived for you. It's like the universe has been counting down to this exact second when all the pieces would finally align perfectly. The people who needed to be in position are now in position. The resources that needed to be gathered are now gathered. The doors that needed to be unlocked are now unlocked. Everything has converged at this precise moment, and you're standing right at the intersection of preparation and manifestation. Think about a farmer who plants seeds in the ground. They water them, protect them from weeds, shield them from harsh weather, and wait patiently through the entire growing season. Then one day, they walk into their field and realize that overnight, everything has ripened simultaneously. The harvest isn't gradual, it explodes all at once. That's exactly what's happening in your life right now. All the seeds of faith, patience, kindness, and perseverance that you've been planting for years are ripening at the same time. Get ready for a harvest that overwhelms you with its abundance. Let me remind you of who you really are, because I think you've forgotten. You're not a victim of circumstance. You're a victor in training. You're not defined by your struggles. You're refined by them. You're not weak because you've been through hard times. You're strong because you survived them. You're not behind in life. You're right on schedule for your divine destiny. Everything that happened to you, good and bad, has been preparing you for this moment when heaven decides to showcase what happens when someone refuses to quit. I want to tell you about the supernatural download that's happening in your mind right now. As you read these words, something is shifting in your consciousness. Old thought patterns that kept you bound to limitation are being erased. Mental blocks that prevented you from seeing yourself as worthy are being removed. Fear patterns that made you shrink back from opportunity are being dissolved. This isn't just motivational speaking, this is actual transformation happening in real time. Your mind is being renewed, your perspective is being elevated, and your capacity to receive is being expanded. You're going to start thinking differently about everything. Problems that once paralyzed you will suddenly seem solvable. Challenges that once overwhelmed you will appear as opportunities. People who once intimidated you will become peers. This mental shift is preparing you to operate at the level you're about to enter. You can't step into a new reality with an old mindset. The upgrade in your thinking is evidence that the upgrade in your circumstances is imminent. Your story is about to become a testimony that encourages millions of people. Think about that for a second. The pain you've been through, the struggles you've endured, the battles you've fought, none of it was wasted. It's all been documented, it's all been recorded, and soon it will all be transformed into a message of hope for people who are going through what you went through. Your mess is about to become your message. Your test is about to become your testimony. Your struggle is about to become your story of triumph. But none of this happens if you give up now. None of this manifests if you let doubt win. None of this becomes reality if you walk away before the miracle arrives. So I'm asking you, begging you, pleading with you, don't quit. Not now. Not when you're this close. Not when everything you've been praying for is about to materialize. Stay in faith. Keep believing. Hold your position. Because breakthrough doesn't come to those who give up. It comes to those who hold on, even when holding on is the hardest thing they've ever done. The wealth transfer that's about to take place in your life is unprecedented. I'm not talking about a small blessing or a temporary relief. I'm talking about a complete financial overhaul. Debts that have haunted you for years will be erased. Bills that have stressed you out will become insignificant. Lack that has defined your existence will be replaced with overflow that exceeds your capacity to contain it. And it's not going to take years. It's not going to be a slow, gradual process. It's going to happen suddenly, dramatically, undeniably. One moment you'll be struggling, and the next moment you'll be standing in abundance, wondering how it happened so fast. That's how supernatural intervention works. It doesn't follow the natural timeline. It doesn't obey the rules of gradual progression. It operates in the realm of suddenly. Suddenly everything changes. Suddenly doors open. Suddenly provision appears. Suddenly the breakthrough manifests. And your suddenly is positioned right now in your immediate future. Let me tell you something about the wealth that's coming that will absolutely astound you. This money isn't going to arrive with strings attached. You're not going to have to compromise your values to receive it. You're not going to have to sell your soul or betray your principles. This is clean money, blessed money, money that comes with peace attached to it. When it arrives, you won't feel guilty about having it. You won't feel like you have to hide it or apologize for it. You'll know beyond any doubt that this is your inheritance, and you'll carry it with confidence and humility. And here's something that will blow your mind. This wealth is actually answering prayers that other people prayed for you. Your grandmother who passed away years ago prayed over you. Your mother who struggled but never gave up prayed over you. Teachers who saw potential in you prayed over you. Friends who believed in you when you didn't believe in yourself prayed over you. All those prayers have been accumulating in the spiritual realm like a bank account, and now the interest has compounded to the point where heaven has to release it. You're receiving not just your own harvest, but the harvest of intercession that others planted on your behalf. If you feel this message resonating in your spirit, do me a favor and take a moment to subscribe to this channel. There's so much more revelation coming that will guide you through what happens next. You don't want to miss a single word, because every message is designed to keep you encouraged, informed, and prepared for the levels you're about to walk into. Now let's talk about what you need to do practically. First, clean up your inner world. Get rid of bitterness toward people who hurt you. Release resentment about opportunities you missed. Forgive yourself for mistakes you made. You can't carry old baggage into new beginnings. The weight will slow you down and distort the blessing. Forgiveness isn't about excusing what happened. It's about freeing yourself from the prison of the past so you can fully embrace the promise of the future. Second, align your words with your faith. Stop speaking defeat over your life. Stop agreeing with limitations. Stop declaring that you'll never get ahead, never be successful, never experience abundance. Your words have creative power. They're either building your future or destroying it. Start declaring what you want to see instead of what you currently see. Speak life. Speak blessing, speak breakthrough, and watch how reality begins to shift to match your declarations. Third, position yourself to receive. This means getting your affairs in order. Update your resume even if you're not looking for a job, because opportunity might knock unexpectedly. Clean up your living space because abundance requires room to flow. Address any legal or financial issues you've been avoiding, because you can't step into new levels with old entanglements hanging over your head. Preparation is part of the process. When you prepare for blessing, you're demonstrating faith that it's really coming. Fourth, surround yourself with people who believe in possibilities, not limitations. The people you spend time with will either lift your faith or drain it. You need voices around you that speak life, hope, and encouragement, especially during this critical transition period. If you don't have those people in your immediate circle, find them online, in faith communities, in positive environments. Protect your atmosphere, because faith is fragile during the waiting period. Fifth, practice gratitude now before the blessing fully manifests. Don't wait until you see the results to be thankful. Be grateful for what's coming as if it's already here. Thank the universe for the breakthrough that's in motion. Express appreciation for the provision that's on the way. Celebrate the victory before you see it. Gratitude positions you as a receiver and accelerates manifestation. When you're thankful in advance, you're demonstrating faith at the highest level. Let me tell you what's going to happen when this blessing hits your life. First, you're going to feel overwhelmed. Not in a bad way, but in a way that makes you realize how much you've been living below your capacity. You're going to look around at your new reality and struggle to believe it's yours. You're going to pinch yourself wondering if you're dreaming. This is normal. Let yourself feel it. Let yourself be amazed. Don't rush past the wonder of it all. Second, people from your past are going to resurface. Old friends who disappeared when you were struggling will suddenly want to reconnect. Family members who didn't have time for you will suddenly need something. Acquaintances who never noticed you will suddenly find you interesting. Be wise about this. Not everyone who shows up when you're blessed has good intentions. Some people love what you can do for them more than they love you. Discernment will be crucial during this phase. Third, you're going to face the temptation to prove yourself to people who doubted you. You'll want to show them they were wrong. You'll want to make them regret not believing in you. Resist this urge. Your success doesn't need to be weaponized. Your blessing doesn't need to be used to humiliate others. Let your life speak for itself. Let your elevation be evidence enough. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. The right people will celebrate you without explanation, and the wrong people won't celebrate you regardless of evidence. Fourth, you're going to discover gifts and abilities you didn't know you had. Abundance has a way of revealing potential that poverty keeps hidden. When you're no longer consumed with survival, you have mental and emotional space to explore creativity, develop skills, and pursue passions. You're about to enter the most productive and creative season of your life. Ideas will flow, opportunities will multiply, doors will open in areas you never even considered. Fifth, you're going to become a target for people who need help. Once word gets out that you've been blessed, everyone with a problem will think you're the solution. You'll hear sob stories, requests for loans, proposals for investments, and all kinds of appeals for financial assistance. Here's where wisdom becomes essential. You can't help everyone. You're not responsible for solving every problem. Your blessing is meant to be a stewardship, not a giveaway. Learn to say no without guilt. Help strategically, not emotionally. The billionaire family that's searching for you represents a principle that operates throughout creation. Heaven doesn't just drop blessings from the sky. It uses human hands to deliver divine provision. It moves through natural channels to accomplish supernatural purposes. This is why you shouldn't despise human instruments or think that needing help from people means you lack faith. Faith doesn't operate in isolation. It works through connection, relationship, and divine alignment with others. These people who are about to enter your life, they're not doing you a favor. They're actually fulfilling their own assignment. They've been blessed to be a blessing, and you're the designated recipient of what they're carrying. This is as much their breakthrough as it is yours. When they find you and pour into your life, they'll experience a joy and fulfillment that money alone could never buy. They need you as much as you need them. This is kingdom partnership at its finest. But I want to be clear about something. While this wealthy family is real and they are searching, your faith cannot be dependent on them finding you quickly. Your faith has to be anchored in something more stable than human timing. You have to believe that whether they show up tomorrow or next month, your breakthrough is guaranteed. Whether it comes through them or through some other channel, your abundance is assured. Your faith isn't in the vehicle, it's in the driver. This is important because if you make your faith dependent on a specific person or opportunity, you'll be disappointed when things don't happen exactly as you imagined. But if your faith is rooted in the unchanging character of divine love and provision, you'll remain steady regardless of how the blessing arrives. You'll recognize it when it comes, even if it looks different than you expected. You'll receive it with gratitude even if the packaging isn't what you imagined. Now let me address something that might be creating resistance in your heart. Maybe you've heard messages like this before. Maybe you've gotten excited about promises that didn't seem to materialize. Maybe you've been disappointed so many times that you're afraid to hope again. I understand. Disappointment is one of the most painful human experiences. It's the gap between expectation and reality, and when that gap is wide, the pain is deep. But here's what I need you to consider. Maybe those other promises didn't fail. Maybe they were preparing you for this one. Maybe those delays weren't denials but developments. Maybe what looked like dead ends were actually detours protecting you from something that would have harmed you. You can't always see the full picture while you're in the process. Sometimes you have to trust that there's a bigger plan at work even when individual pieces don't make sense. This moment is different because you're different. You're not the same person you were when those other promises were spoken. You've grown, you've matured, you've been refined, you've developed capacity you didn't have before. And now you're ready for what you weren't ready for then. Timing is everything, and your timing is now. Not because I say so, but because everything in your life has been moving toward this convergence point. I want you to think about nature for a moment. Think about how a seed is planted in darkness, covered by dirt invisible to the human eye. For weeks or even months, nothing appears to be happening above ground. But beneath the surface, roots are growing, strength is developing, life is forming, and then one day, seemingly out of nowhere, a shoot breaks through the soil, and before you know it, a plant is growing, then thriving, then producing fruit. Your life has been like that seed. All the dark times, all the covered times, all the invisible times, they weren't wasted. They were necessary. Roots were growing. Character was forming. Strength was developing, and now you're about to break through the surface. The fruit of all those hidden seasons is about to become visible. People will look at you and think you became successful overnight, but you'll know the truth. This is the result of years of hidden growth finally becoming visible. The wealth that's coming isn't just about having more money in your bank account. It's about having a different relationship with money altogether. Right now, you probably think about money with fear and anxiety. You worry about not having enough. You stress about bills. You feel ashamed when you can't afford things. But when abundance arrives, money becomes a tool instead of a master. It becomes something you use to accomplish purposes instead of something that controls your decisions. This shift in perspective is actually more valuable than the money itself. Because if you get money without the right mindset, you'll lose it quickly. History is full of lottery winners who ended up broke because they had millions in their hands but poverty in their hearts. But when your mindset shifts first, or shifts along with your circumstances, the wealth you receive will multiply instead of diminish. You'll know how to steward it, invest it, protect it, and use it wisely. There's something I need to tell you about the relationships that are about to shift in your life. Right now, you might feel invisible. You might feel like people don't see you, don't value you, don't respect you. But when this blessing hits, the same people who ignored you will suddenly want your attention. The same people who had no time for you will suddenly have plenty of time. The same people who never returned your calls will suddenly be calling you multiple times a day. Here's where wisdom becomes crucial. Just because people show up doesn't mean they belong in your next season. Just because someone wants access doesn't mean they've earned it. You're going to have to become very selective about who you allow into your inner circle. Not everyone who celebrates your blessing is celebrating you. Some people are celebrating what you can do for them. Learn to discern the difference between genuine love and strategic positioning. At the same time, don't become cynical or closed off. There are beautiful, authentic relationships waiting for you at your next level. People who will love you for who you are, not what you have. Friends who will celebrate your success without jealousy. Mentors who will guide you without trying to control you. Partners who will walk with you without trying to use you. These divine connections are part of the package that's being delivered to your life. Part of this new relationship with money involves understanding that you're not the owner, you're the manager. Everything you receive is actually a trust. It's been given to you to steward for purposes bigger than yourself. Yes, you get to enjoy it. Yes, you get to use it for your needs and wants. But there's also a responsibility to use it in ways that create positive impact, solve problems, and bless others. When you understand this, money stops being an end and becomes a means. Let me tell you about the peace that's coming with this financial breakthrough. Right now, you probably wake up anxious. You check your bank account with dread. You avoid looking at bills because you know you can't pay them. You feel a constant low-level stress that never really goes away. But imagine waking up calm. Imagine checking your account and smiling. Imagine receiving bills and paying them without a second thought. Imagine that knot in your stomach finally releasing. This is the peace that surpasses understanding, and it's part of your inheritance. But peace doesn't just come from having money. It comes from knowing that you're taken care of, that you're seen, that you matter. It comes from experiencing faithfulness that never fails. It comes from watching promises manifest. This is why your breakthrough is about so much more than finances. Yes, the money will come, but the real transformation is in your heart, your mind, your spirit. You're about to know beyond any doubt that you're loved, valued, and chosen. And that knowing will change everything about how you move through the world. Before I continue, I want to speak directly to those of you who are feeling unworthy. Maybe you're thinking, this can't be for me. I've made too many mistakes. I've failed too many times. I don't deserve this kind of blessing. Let me stop you right there. Deserve has nothing to do with it. Nobody deserves grace. That's what makes it grace. Nobody earns unconditional love. That's what makes it unconditional. This blessing isn't coming because you're perfect. It's coming because you're chosen, and those are two completely different things. Your mistakes don't disqualify you. Your failures don't eliminate you. Your past doesn't define your future. What matters is that you're still here. You're still believing. You're still hoping. You're still moving forward even when everything in you wants to give up. That persistence, that refusal to quit, that determination to keep going, that's what caught heaven's attention. That's what activated this blessing. Not your perfection, but your persistence. So release the guilt. Let go of the shame. Stop punishing yourself for being human. You're about to enter a season where your past becomes irrelevant and your future becomes inevitable. The only thing that can stop this now is you, and I'm begging you, don't stop it. Don't sabotage it with unbelief. Don't delay it with doubt. Don't block it with fear. Just receive it. Open your hands, open your heart, and receive what's already been released with your name on it. My precious one, there comes a moment in every person's life when everything changes, and that moment has arrived for you right now. While you've been sleeping, struggling, and wondering if anyone cares about your situation, there have been forces moving in your favor that you couldn't see with your physical eyes. You know those battles you fought alone in the darkness. Those weren't random struggles. There was an invisible war happening all around you, and you were being protected by powers you never knew existed. While you thought you were abandoned and forgotten, there were actually guardians surrounding you, keeping your dreams alive, preserving your purpose, and making sure that nothing could destroy what was planted inside you before you were even born. You survived things that should have broken you completely, and that wasn't luck. That was divine protection working overtime to make sure you made it to this exact moment. Think about all those times when something terrible almost happened but didn't. Remember when you were on the edge of giving up, but something inside you said to hold on one more day. That wasn't just your willpower. That was heaven intervening, sending strength when you had none left, providing hope when everything looked hopeless. You were never truly alone even though it felt that way. The loneliness you experienced was part of your preparation, not your punishment. Now listen carefully, because this is important. The season where things kept getting delayed over and over again has officially ended. What was blocked is now flowing. What was stuck is now moving. What was denied is now being approved. This isn't wishful thinking or empty promises. This is a declaration over your life that nothing can reverse. The waiting period has expired and the fulfillment period has begun. Imagine a dry piece of land that hasn't seen rain in years. The ground is cracked, nothing grows, everything looks dead and hopeless. But then suddenly the clouds gather and rain begins to pour. Not just a drizzle, but a downpour that floods the entire area, bringing life back to everything that seemed permanently dead. That's what's about to happen in your life. The overflow that's coming won't be a small blessing that barely makes a difference. It will be a flood of favor, provision, opportunity, and breakthrough that completely transforms your reality. And here's the beautiful part: this blessing was never meant to make logical sense. It's not going to follow the normal rules of how things usually happen. When it arrives, you won't be able to explain it to people using ordinary reasoning. They'll ask how you went from struggle to success so quickly, and you won't have a natural answer because what happened was supernatural. This kind of miracle is designed to point people beyond human effort to divine intervention. Your story is about to become living proof that there's a power greater than circumstance working in this universe. Remember that wealthy family I mentioned earlier, the ones who've been searching for you. They're getting closer with every passing moment. Right now, at this very second, they're feeling something strange in their hearts. It's like an invisible pull towards someone they've never met. They feel restless, like they need to do something important, but they're not quite sure what. That restless feeling is actually divine instruction being downloaded into their spirits. They're being guided toward you even though they don't understand why yet. These people aren't just bringing money into your life. What they're carrying is so much bigger than financial provision. They're bringing justice. Think about all the years when things were stolen from you. Opportunities that should have been yours went to someone else. Doors that should have opened for you stayed locked. People who should have helped you walked away. Resources that should have flowed to you dried up. All of that injustice is about to be corrected. What was taken is being returned with interest. What was denied is being granted with abundance. What was delayed is being delivered with urgency. Every single year that felt wasted is being redeemed right now. Remember that job you didn't get even though you were the most qualified. That's being repaid. Remember that relationship that fell apart and left you broken. That's being restored with something better. Remember that financial crisis that almost destroyed you. That's being reversed with overflow. Nothing you went through was for nothing. Every painful experience is being transformed into a testimony of restoration. Your sorrow is being converted into security. Your lack is being replaced with luxury. Your waiting is being rewarded with wealth. And this isn't going to be a slow, gradual process. This is going to happen with shocking speed that leaves you breathless and amazed. Now let me tell you something that will change how you see yourself. The source of all creation doesn't check your bank account before releasing miracles into your life. There's no credit score requirement for divine favor. There's no background check that determines if you qualify for blessing. What matters is your heart, and your heart has been found faithful. While others doubted and walked away, you kept believing. While others laughed at your faith, you kept declaring truth. While others gave up and quit, you held on even when holding on was the hardest thing you'd ever done. Because of your faithfulness in the darkness, something is about to happen that no human being can take credit for. What's coming won't be traced to your hard work alone, your education, your connections, or your strategy. Yes, all of those things matter, but they're not the source. This blessing will carry a signature that everyone who sees it will recognize as supernatural. It will have a fragrance of heaven on it that cannot be denied. People are going to ask you how this happened so suddenly. They're going to want to know what you did to turn things around so dramatically. And when they ask, you'll have an opportunity to tell them the truth. You'll say that you were remembered by forces beyond this physical world. You'll explain that there's a loving presence that saw you when you were invisible to everyone else. You'll testify that faithfulness is never forgotten and tears are never wasted. You're not going to just come out of your situation. You're going to be lifted up to levels you never imagined reaching. You're going to find yourself sitting in rooms you never trained for, speaking to people you never thought you'd meet, and walking in authority you didn't know you could carry. And all of this is going to happen in front of the very people who counted you out. The ones who said you'd never make it are going to watch you rise. The ones who mocked your faith are going to witness your fulfillment. The ones who abandoned you in the valley are going to see you on the mountain. Think about what this means for your family. You are no longer the underdog. You're no longer the background character in someone else's story of success. You're no longer the one who barely survives while others thrive. Your name is being written into the next chapter of breakthrough, and what's being released will change everything. Your name, your house, your future, your entire family bloodline is about to experience a shift so profound that generations will feel the impact. Your children are going to eat from the harvest that your faith planted. They're going to walk in blessings they didn't have to fight for because you fought those battles for them. Their children will know abundance because of what happens in your life during this season. This is generational transformation, not just personal improvement. But I need to address something that might be trying to creep into your mind right now. Fear might be whispering that this is too big, that you're not ready, that you'll mess it up somehow. Doubt might be suggesting that you're dreaming too big and need to be more realistic. Let me silence those voices right now with absolute truth. You are not dreaming too big. You were actually created for more than what you've been settling for. The small life you've been living isn't your destiny, it's just been your temporary reality. And temporary means it can change, which is exactly what's happening. Everything you need is coming toward you right now. Wealth, yes, but also peace that surpasses understanding. Healing for wounds that have been bleeding for years. Joy that replaces the sorrow you've carried like a heavy coat. Divine alignment with people and opportunities that fit perfectly with your purpose. All of it is being released simultaneously, and nothing has the power to stop what has been ordained. You've waited long enough, haven't you? You've been patient when patience felt impossible. You've been faithful when faith seemed foolish. You've been hopeful when hope appeared naive. But your waiting is over. The doors that were locked are being unlocked. The hands that once pushed you away are now extending invitations. The voices that once rejected you are now calling your name with respect. This is the moment that was spoken about in places you couldn't hear. This is the hour when heaven responds loudly to every silent prayer you whispered through tears. The cries you thought disappeared into empty air were actually being recorded. And now the answers are being delivered. You're not getting one small blessing, you're getting a collection of miracles all at once. When this blessing arrives, I don't want you to shrink back. I don't want you to feel unworthy or guilty. I don't want you to question if you deserve it. Walk boldly into what you're being called to. Receive it with both hands wide open. Accept it with gratitude and confidence. You will not need to beg for access to anything anymore. Your name has already been written into the records of those who receive divine wealth and legacy. My precious child, as we close this powerful word over your life, I want you to stand up right now wherever you are. Stand up in your spirit even if you're sitting down physically. This is your moment of complete surrender and total reception. Everything that has been spoken over you in this message is not just hopeful thinking. It's prophetic declaration that's already in motion. The billionaire family is real. The wealth transfer is happening. The doors are opening. The favor is flowing. The protection is surrounding you. The breakthrough has begun, and nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop what has been set in motion by forces beyond this physical realm. Your story is being rewritten from struggle to success, from lack to abundance, from hidden to celebrated, from forgotten to favored. The next chapter of your life will be so different from what you've experienced that you'll look back on this moment as the turning point when everything changed. Before you close this message, I want you to understand something profound about what happens next. The moment you finish reading these words, you're going to step back into your regular life. You'll see the same problems, the same bills, the same challenges. And it might be tempting to think that nothing has changed, but everything has changed. In the invisible realm, massive shifts have already occurred. Angels have been deployed, doors have been unlocked, resources have been released, connections have been made, and now it's only a matter of time before what happened in the spiritual dimension manifests in your physical reality. The gap between spiritual breakthrough and physical manifestation can range from moments to months, but the manifestation is inevitable once the spiritual work is complete. Your job during this gap is to maintain your faith, guard your words, protect your peace, and position yourself to receive. Don't let the delay between promise and fulfillment convince you that nothing is happening. Some of the most important work happens in the invisible waiting period. I want you to create a vision board if you haven't already. Not because vision boards have magic power, but because they keep your focus on where you're going instead of where you've been. Put images of the life you're about to live, pictures of the peace, the abundance, the joy, the influence that's coming. Look at it every single day. Let it remind you that what you're seeing in your mind is about to become what you see with your eyes. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not yet seen. Your vision board is a physical representation of spiritual faith. And finally, I want you to start practicing generosity right now, even before the abundance arrives. If all you have is $5, find someone who needs $3 and give it. If all you have is time, find someone who needs help and offer it. If all you have is encouragement, find someone who's discouraged and speak life into them. Generosity isn't about the amount, it's about the heart. When you give from lack, you're demonstrating faith that more is coming, and that faith activates the very abundance you're believing for. Walk forward with confidence. Speak with authority. Believe with your whole heart. Receive with open hands, and watch as the impossible becomes your testimony. You are blessed. You are chosen. You are loved beyond measure, and your time of overflow has officially arrived. This is not the end. This is your glorious new beginning.